Hi everyone, today I'm going to be walking you through the Closing the Eye Mage Tower challenge, which is available for Arms Warrior, Havok Demon Hunter, Frost Death Knight, Survival Hunter, and Subtlety Rogue. I completed this challenge as an Arms Warrior, but the advice in this video should expand across most of the eligible specs for this challenge. In terms of the talents for Arms Warrior, I ran a mostly single target build with a couple of AoE abilities woven in too, and I decided to take Colossal Smash instead of Warbreaker as AoE damage wasn't where I was falling behind. If you run this challenge as Arms, there is an import string to copy my talents into your game in the description below. But regardless of your spec, make sure you're speccing for mostly single target while opting for a couple of AoE abilities to deal with Razor Ice in Phase 1 and the ads in Phase 2. Moving on to the gear I used for this challenge, I'm almost exclusively wearing Dragonflight catch-up gear from the Forbidden Reach and Dream Surges, hence why her item level is low. For trinkets, I ran with the Ravaged Seed Pod from Nythendra in the Emerald Nightmare, and the Sands of Temporal Perfection from Time Rifts. Although I wouldn't recommend any trinkets like this one that has a proc that spawns a zone on the ground, as you need to utilise lots of movement in this encounter. Another old trinket that scales well in the Mage Tower is the Unblinking Gaze of Seath, which drops from Shadowlord Iskar in Hellfire Citadel. Although it's an intellect trinket, the equip effect is very strong regardless of your spec. Finally, remember that consumables are very helpful in the Mage Tower, so don't try running it without them, or else you're immediately setting yourself at a disadvantage. I used main stat food, versatility files, buzzing runes, and elemental potions of power, as well as dragonflight health potions and feral hide drums. Now we're ready to begin the encounter, and before combat starts, Xylem has some RP, during which you have time to buff yourself and use your consumables. Just make sure you're in range of Xylem before the end of his monologue, as he will immediately start casting frostbolts at you when he engages. Phase 1 is pretty simple, and your main priorities are interrupting or mitigating damage from frostbolts and escaping Razor Ice. You can pop cooldowns as soon as you start the fight, just be sure to save Lust for the final phase as it's a DPS race. My first tip in this phase is to move Xylem closer to the centre of the platform after you've interrupted him. This is so that you can more easily reach him when he teleports away and uses Razor Ice. Now depending on your spec, you may be able to escape Razor Ice without having to DPS them down, such as warriors being able to jump and heroic leap and immediately get back to DPSing Xylem. Demon Hunters can also double jump out of Razor Ice, and Subtlety Rogues can shadow step to a shard on the outside of the circle. Most specs will have to DPS the Razor Ice at least once or twice, depending on how long their movement cooldowns are. Arms Warriors should use Heroic Leap to escape the first and third Razor Ice, and then DPS down the second and fourth while Heroic Leap is on cooldown. He will teleport to the edge of the platform and spawn mirror images everywhere that cast Prismatic Shock. I would recommend killing a nearby mirror image and standing in its shield bubble while you look for the real Xylem, which is wherever you see the cluster of sparkles on the edge of the platform. If you're fighting a mirror image and you can't kill them before they finish their cast, use an interrupt or a stun, or else you'll be knocked back and take heavy damage. Once you're back in melee range of Xylem, he'll use arcane abilities instead of frost. Make sure you hold your interrupt for his draw power cast, as this channel will increase his damage done the longer he channels. Arcane Barrage and Shadow Barrage should be easy enough to deal with in this phase. He will eventually enter another mirror image phase, and this works the exact same as the first intermission, so use movement abilities between prismatic shot casts, and jump from safety bubble to safety bubble until you can reach Xylem. Once he's out of the second intermission, he will combine Frost and Arcane abilities, so you'll now have to work against Razor Ice again, as well as dodging Shadow Barrages, but he won't draw power in this phase, so you're free to interrupt him like you did in phase 1. At 10% HP, Xylem will become unattackable and begin RP to start phase 2. A few seconds later, you will drop combat yourself, allowing you to heal to full with food if you need to, as well as giving you time to change talents, but I didn't need to do this myself. Corrupting Shadows will spawn when the phase starts, and you need to immediately kite it over to the edge of the platform. This is because a few seconds later, it will start dropping pools underneath it that expand over time, so dropping the first pool at the edge of the platform gives you more time at the end of the fight before the entire platform becomes unplayable. Pop your cooldowns with Lust here to maximize your damage, as this is now a DPS race. Every minute in this phase you'll deal with Seed of Darkness. You can keep attacking the boss in melee until the end of the channel, at which point you need to get as far away from the boss as possible, as 3 adds will spawn around you and immediately start moving towards the boss, healing it if they reach it. Once the adds are dead, try to meet the boss at the edge of the puddle so that you conserve space. The boss will be stationary while the adds are up, so you don't have to worry about kiting until the adds are dead. Don't do what I did, which is charge back into the boss before it has moved safely to the edge of the pool. I now have lots of health to recover while also trying to maximize DPS, which is not good, but it goes to show you that it can still be done even when you make mistakes. Phase 2 is pretty straightforward, just maximize your damage as much as you can, keep an eye on your offensive cooldowns and use them as soon as they're available, unless you have a Seed of Darkness coming soon, in which case save them for afterwards. I use the challenge plugin for DBM to show me timers and announcements during Mage Tower challenges, which is how I'm more clearly able to see how long is left until I need to run out and drop my adds. I've linked that add-on down in the description for you. Right at the end of the fight, you can see that I have very little playable space left to drop my next set of ads, so I decided to fully commit to focusing the boss down, especially as I'm a warrior and the boss is in execute range, and luckily I was able to get the boss down in a split second before the ad spawned. And there we have it. That is how you complete the Closing the Eye Mage Tower challenge. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions or if you'd like to offer some tips of your own, be sure to comment them down below. I also have a playlist of all of my other Mage Tower guide videos linked below if you'd like to see those too. But for now, I wish you all the best with Closing the Eye, have a wonderful rest of your day, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye!